I'm not the most creative of people, so going down the I want to be a makeup artist or I want to be a designer route would just be me being untrue to myself. So I was like, why not do food? Something that I love to do, something I understand. I love feeding people. I love people. And then something started, should I say, started happening. I used to work on the island and I would finish work about 9 o'clock at night. And then driving back home, I would think, I don't want to eat food at home. I'm really, really hungry. I don't want to eat food at home. I don't want to go out of my way to get food. I want something really good, really nice, but along my route home. Something I could just pick up and just jump back into traffic and leave.
I'm specialized in catering and baking, and I work as a supervisor in Bayleaf. Um, for starting, working here is a big pleasure for me, and I've worked in so many places, and I would say Bayleaf, they have a nice setup. The food is good compared to what I've worked before. They has a unique way of, making their food, which is very good in when it comes to customer service. And
Your experience of
apart from that, she's my boss. She's the nicest person I've ever worked with. And no matter what I do, she always try, as possible to speak to me as brother, which I really like about her.
This is not your regular 9 to 5, but this is my life. My name is Waimi Roshajafo. Welcome to Bayleaf.
Still here on this episode, we bring you the compelling story of Bruno Oraihinang, banker turned Baba. After many years in the banking sector, he is now the proud owner of the famous Bruno's Place and have several branches around the country and abroad.
I work in the financial industry for over 10 years. Over 10 years. But there was a point when it became so tough in the bank. It's like they were trying to, just because they had to raise capital and all that, the targets started increasing and increasing. And there were a lot of pressure, and all that. So, and the bank, banking sector were trying to also downsize, just to cut costs. So it was at that time that I was asked to resign. But one interesting thing about when I was asked to resign, I always say this, about 3 of my colleagues were asked to resign alongside with me, but no, many people were asked to resign, but 3 of my colleagues died because they couldn't handle the shock. But see, today I'm alive. I'm giving out jobs to people. This business was born out of necessity. I wanted to do something that put food on the table. And the only thing that occurred to me to do was, set up a barbering salon. And I didn't know any jack about barbering salon. So what I did, I started a small place, and I employed people just to be doing the job because I wanted something that would just give me money. I said, you are coming out from the bank, no job, but I needed something that I would do that would give me money. So that's how this thing started. Well, here, it's quite different. I could remember when I was working in the bank, you have to wake up 4:30 in the morning, and because you want to, just because of a hold up, you don't want to get caught up in the hold up. You have to leave your house early just to get to work. Let me give you a small story. There was a particular day, that usually those days when I was going to work, I don't wear my shoe. What I do, I wear slippers because I was going to drive. So that this particular day, I stopped by the kitchen just to drink water. Then after drinking the water, I entered my car. Because I was rushing, I got to work very early, stayed inside the car, I slept for some time. So when it was time for me to get inside the office, I remember that I didn't have my shoe. forgot my shoe where, where I was drinking water. So I had to rush back, you know. I rushed back, I made it. But when I was coming back, then I saw the traffic. That was when I told myself, this is not something I would do for life. So I started thinking of a plan B. I still wake up early, but I don't rush the way my colleagues, you know, in the banking rush. But you're like, I have my time, I have my freedom, you know. And here, when I was working in the bank, I was enjoying the money, I was getting the money, but I was not getting the satisfaction. But doing this, I'm getting the satisfaction and I'm getting the money. So there's a balance. When you hear people talking about challenges doing a business like this, they will expect me to talk about money, you know. But I want to tell you that money is not a challenge, you know. When it comes to doing a small scale business, I will tell you why. You know, one other challenge too that also people worry about in this business too, staff that are mobile, they don't stay, you know. So to me, it's not really a challenge because I find my way around it. I've always believed, you know, before working in the bank and while working in the bank that people don't really buy what you sell. They buy into you first before they buy what you're selling. You know, so before you go into any business, before you do anything, you have to take time, first of all, to work on yourself. You have to build your personal brand, you know. If you build your personal brand very well, you will attract money and you will attract people. That is what worked for me. You know, when I was going to set up this business, this is the mall. This is the most expensive mall and the busiest mall in this country. This is the Ikeja City Mall. You know, to set up a salon in the mall, and this is the first salon in the mall in this country, you know, is a lot of money. Do you understand? But because people saw the way I was going about it, they saw the way, you know, they saw my personal brand. When I started it, I was dressing, just the way I was dressing to go to the bank was still the same way I was dressing to come to even the small place that I was using inside somebody's shop, downstairs. I wear my suit tie, pocket square, doing hair. I wear designers doing hair. And people were wondering, who is this? You know? So that one alone put crowd. That one alone, you know, put people, you know, who helped me at the initial stage. And at the same time, some of my staff, they were challenged because they've never seen something like this. So that was how I dealt with all those challenges. At the initial stage, I got people to give me money to study, you know, but within a period, I paid back, you know. So I didn't use my money to start it, but I used what they called OPM, other people's money, just because they believe in my personal brand. Major challenges I would have faced, I dealt with it before starting the business. For instance, I knew about the business. I didn't just start it just to make money. When I started the business, I got a private teacher who taught me for a whole year how to braid, how to barb, how to do all kinds. I knew the business, not just the skills. I also went to understudy somebody who was big in the business. You know, I picked somebody who was big in the business. I stayed under the business for a couple of years so that I can get to understand the key success factor behind the business. So when I started, you know, I was doing so many things at the same time. I was doing branding myself. I was doing accounting myself. I was doing cashiering. You know, I had the basic knowledge. You know, I knew about barbing. I knew about fixing of hair. I knew about retouching. I knew about doing. There was a time I was doing DD. You know, so I know all the basics. You know, there was a particular thing that happened. There was this lady, a staff that I got. So she was making a hair for a customer. So I was trying to correct her. So she felt offended and she left the hair halfway. And she left. Just imagine I didn't know how to do the hair. What would have happened? It would have been a challenge, but because I knew how to do the hair, I was able to resolve the situation. So that's why I say most of the challenges that people have when they want to start business because I was prepared for this, I was able to deal with it. Bruno's Place is more than a salon. People see Bruno's Place on the surface level as, a place where they just come and make their hair. But it's more than a salon. This place is what I would call a school. It's a school. Because in Bruno's Place, we have 3 departments. We have what we call IAS. We have what we call the IAS, Integrated Apprenticeship Experience. Here we emphasize more on the skills, That's the type of work that we do. The fixing, the cutting of hair, the pedicure and the manicure, the nails and all that. We don't really stress much on the skills because anybody that's working in Bruno's Place has basic knowledge. But what we emphasize at that level is standard. We want to be a reference point to every other people out there. So that's why we stress more on the standard. Then the second aspect of Bruno's Place is we call it the IAX 102, where we get to teach our staff, about the vision, the purpose and the mission, of what Bruno's Place stands for. Those days, people used to think that this kind of business for dropouts, is for people who, the less privileged, people who are looked down on. But we decided to turn it around because I find that there's a difference between schooling and education. I feel very happy, feel very excited, being an employee of Labor. You know why? Because I was asked to resign and 3 of my colleagues died. But today I'm alive, giving out jobs. Now I have over 100 staff. I'm always looking forward to end of the month because that's when, I get to see the smile on my staff faces when they get to see the alert. The plan is for us to expand because we have a prototype now. Just imagine you have a Bruno's Place in 36 states. If with 2 branches we can employ 100 staff, imagine the number of people we're going to employ. The truth is not because we want to make money, because we want to give jobs out. We want to give jobs. It gives me joy, I have the opportunity, to transform lives, and to add value to people.
My name is Musa. I work as a barber in Bruno's Place. I started Bruno's Place in Abuja 2017. Then I was earning 45 to 50,000 naira. But as for now, I earn more money than what I earned before. And I'm really happy working in Bruno's Place because it's really transformed my life.
My name is Abisola Shakira. I've been working in Bruno's Place for the past 5 years now. And since then, when I was working in Magodo, I wasn't able to school then because I couldn't have enough cash to run myself to school. Then from there, since I got here, I was able to school. I got married. So far so good. Mr. Bruno is a good person.
This is not the regular 9 to 5. This is my life.
That money we shoot every person that we know we can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
That time why I carry gonorrhea. I first go hospital first, but it no go. Now I come make that mama.
He just pulled it, he pointed and shot.
What is the soul of a man?
They suffer too much. They suffer too much.
Issues around the Nigerian police, we have to tackle it holistically.
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
They've seen the diesel truck catch fire. As they try offload the diesel way they inside, come out. Fire department can't try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Watching Plus TV Africa, and this is where the big stories live, and this is News on the Hour. I am Tokumbo Taiwo. We begin the News on the Hour at this time with the Code of Conduct Bureau has said that President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, governors and other public officers whose tenure ends on the 29th of May must submit their end of tenure asset declaration forms on the 28th of May 2019. However, other public officers, mainly members of the outgoing 8th National Assembly, who were inaugurated on the 9th of June 2015, have up till June 8, 2019, a few hours to the expiration of their tenure to declare their assets. Those expected to declare their assets by virtue of the constitutional provision are the President, Vice President, President and Deputy President of the Senate, Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Speakers and Deputy Speakers of State Houses of Assembly, and all members of legislative houses. The rest are governors and deputy governors, the Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of each state, ministers, commissioners, and secretary to the government of the Federation. Paragraph 11 of the Part 1 to the 5th Schedule to the Constitution compels public officers to declare their assets to the CCB immediately after taking office and thereafter at the end of every 4 years. The public officers are obliged to submit to the Code of Conduct Bureau a written declaration of all his properties, assets, and liabilities, and those of his unmarried children under the age of 18 years. Chief Press Officer of the CCB, Charity Utok, said the incoming political office holders were given up to 3 months to make their declarations to the CCB, while the outgoing ones must do so as soon as they step out of office. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday hosted members of the business community and officials of the All Progressives Congress APC to Iftar Ramadan breaking of fast at the State House in Abuja. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, were among the government functionaries at the fast-breaking event. Members of the business community in attendance of the fast-breaking meal included Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, Tony Elumelu, Isiaka Rabiu, and Emeka Ofo. Others were the chairman of the Sahara Group, Kola Additional, and the chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Najim Yassin. The national chairman of the APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomole, immediate past and national chairman of the party, John Odige Oyegun, the party's national vice chairman, Northwest Inua Abdulkadir, and other party officials also joined the president to share the fast-breaking meal. The Nigeria Supreme Court has held the election of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. In a unanimous judgment on Friday, a 5-man panel of the court dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate in the last governorship election in Ekiti, Kolapo Eleka. The PDP and Eleka had appealed the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the decision of the Justice Suleiman Belgore-led election tribunal that held that Fayemi was validly elected. In the lead judgment by Justice John Okoro, the court held that the appeal was unmeritorious and proceeded to uphold an earlier judgment by the Court of Appeal, Abuja, which affirmed the decision of the election tribunal to the effect that Fayemi was validly elected. The judge added that he could not interfere with the concurrent findings of the two lower courts, both the trial tribunal and the Court of Appeal, because the appellants, PDP and Olushola Eleka, failed to establish that both lower courts erred and misapplied the law in their judgments. The acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, Justices Olukayode Ariwola, Paul Galumje and Uwani Abba Aji, who were also on the panel, agreed with the lead judgment. Meanwhile, Professor Kolakbo Olushola Eleka, former Deputy Governor of Ekiti and People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in the last governorship election, has congratulated Governor Kayode Fayemi on his election victory at the Supreme Court. While reacting to his loss at the Apex Court, the PDP candidate said he decided to congratulate Fayemi because of his nature as an Omoluabi, cultured person. He, however, implored Fayemi to sincerely exhibit the true Omoluabi attitude to Ekiti people, which were known for, and by focusing on governance in the true sense of it. He said, "My consolation at this time is that the people of Ekiti, as well as Fayemi and the APC, knew I was robbed, and God being God, the true story shall be told someday by those who orchestrated the theft." Also, the Supreme Court on Friday nullified the elections on the candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State in the 2019 general elections. Delivering a unanimous judgment of the five-man panel led by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, the Apex Court declared the first runners-up in the 2019 general elections in the state as the winners of all of the posts earlier declared to have been won by the APC and its candidates. Justice Paul Galumje, who read the lead judgment, upheld the decision of the Sokoto Division of the Court of Appeal to the effect that the APC did not conduct any valid primary election and as such had no candidates for any of the elections in the state. He added that the party and the candidates with the second highest votes in the various elections were the valid winners. Meanwhile, the governor-elect of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale of the People's Democratic Party, has commended the judiciary for standing up to the truth in the discharge of its responsibilities. He became the new governor-elect on Friday, being the candidate with the second highest number of votes from the last governorship election in the state. In a statement signed by his aide, Umar Mohammed, he said, and I quote, "The judgment is a testimony that the judiciary has remained fair in the discharge of its responsibilities." Presidential candidate of the party in the 2019 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has commended and celebrated the judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which declared the PDP as winner of the gubernatorial election in Zamfara State, as well as in the state's House of Assembly elections. According to the former vice president, the judgment is a victory for all those who stand for justice. He congratulated the governor-elect and the people of Zamfara, saying they will finally have a government that will address the issues that have made life an ordeal in their state. In other legal matters, Governor Aminu Masari has signed into law mandatory death sentence for anyone convicted of cattle rustling or kidnapping in Katsina State. Similarly, the offense of rape carries the mandatory sentence of life in addition to fine and compensations to victim. Talking rail infrastructure now, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, says Nigeria's Central Railway line, which commences from Abuja to Itakpe via Lokoja in Kogi State, has been approved by the Federal Executive Council. The minister, while giving an appraisal of ongoing rail projects in the country, commended the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari, saying the federal government proven its resolve to build critical infrastructure and is not owing any counterpart funding for other rail projects. He said there is no cause for alarm over the expected loan for the Central Rail line, as the business model being adopted will guarantee repayment of the loan.
We have paid the, what's it called? We paid the counterpart funding, that's not a problem. And we must thank the president. You know his commitment, you will enjoy being a minister when the president is committed to you. You look as if you are the star minister. You're not the star minister. Any other minister they put there and has the attention of the president will be a star minister. Because the focus of the president is on the construction or building of infrastructure. It's not because Amechi or Fashola are his best of friends. If you take John and Mary to Minister of Transport and Minister of Works, they will get the same attention because the president is focused on infrastructure. So we are delighted and we thank the president for that attention. We thank Minister of Finance for that attention. and we thank the Nigerian people for that. There are other projects that are considered for construction. The one that we just got an approval from the cabinet is the Central Line. The Central Line begins from Abuja through Baro to Itabe with a spot to Lokoja. That has been approved. With a seaport in Warri, approved. The problem is that in that case, the federal government is not borrowing money. The SPV will borrow the money. The federal government will contribute 10% of the equity. No, 15% of the equity. The contractor will contribute 10% of the equity. Then we will form an SPV that will borrow 75% of the equity. The federal government will give a sovereign guarantee to enable them to get quick loan. In turn, the contractor will give us a performance guarantee. What is performance guarantee? The performance guarantee is that since you have concessioned this, after completion, you've concessioned it to me, I will run the seaport and the rail line in such a manner that I will pay back the loan in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, depending on what the outcome of this thing is. So the payment of the loan will be done by the SPV. The federal government will guarantee the loan, and in turn, the SPV or the contractor will give us a guarantee that that if they call our SPV, we should call their performance guarantee. That's the one. If it works, that's a wonderful type of PPP. And it was ingenious of the ministry to have done that.
In education, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, has commenced efforts aimed at improving research and development capacities in Nigerian universities. The Executive Secretary of the fund, Professor Suleiman Bogoro, while inaugurating an ad hoc committee to manage TET Fund's newly created Department of Research and Development, says the committee will help provide internal leadership expected to help TET Fund fulfill its mandate on research and development. Professor Bagoro says Nigerian universities must lead the way through research and development and hopes the committee can catalyze this drive.
It is of critical importance, therefore, for TET Fund to set up a mechanism and machinery that will facilitate systematic and scheduled internalization of the R&D paradigm shift. This will lead to the development of the institution into veritable hubs of experimentation and incubation of scientific and technological innovation, urgently needed for national development and competitiveness. It is with this in mind that this ad hoc committee is inaugurated with the following terms of reference: to provide strategic leadership internally to the process of implementing TET Fund R&D mandate among the staff of the fund by A, creating awareness and sensitization of R&D and innovation paradigm shift in the fund all relevant staff. B, developing administrative and technical capacity building framework for not only the TET Fund R&D department but all staff capabilities, TEIs. Then finally, to lead the strategic integration of the ES Sustainable R&D Innovation recommended framework with relevant key stakeholders.
Research and the impact of research. Those are the things that make institutions popular among colleague institutions and among peers. And so what we are doing here today, with the ES calls a small but significant event, and I wrote that down, can have a very major impact on the higher education system of Nigeria. The members of TET Fund, who all this primarily is meant for, we are going to work hard to ensure we can properly institutionalize research and development in our system. The gentlemen here are very experienced. They've touched research, they've touched human capital development, they have touched patenting, and so on. And so the road is quite clear. We know the road is quite clear. With the kind of support that we have from the Executive Secretary and all of you members of TET Fund, without any doubt, this committee is going to give this country what.
And it's time to take a quick break now. Stay tuned for more news when we return. Libya's Coast Guard rescued 290 migrants clinging to inflatable rafts on Friday in 2 operations near the capital, Tripoli, a Naval Forces spokesman said. The western coast of Libya is the main departure point of hundreds of thousands of migrants fleeing their countries from wars and poverty to reach shores of Italy. A Coast Guard vessel rescued 87 migrants off Karabouli, a town 50 kilometers 31 miles eastern Tripoli, on an inflatable boat. Naval Forces spokesman Ayub Kassim told Reuters the Coast Guard is part of Libya's Navy. Kassim added that another group of 203 migrants were rescued from 2 inflatable boats off Zlitin, a town 160 kilometers east of the capital. A panel of 3 judges in Kenya unanimously upheld laws that criminalize consensual same-sex relations between adults. The judges said the Constitution adequately protected LGBTQ people's rights. In the ruling, the Kenyan High Court upheld a colonial-era ban on same-sex relations on Friday. Presiding Judge Rosaline Aburili gave rulings saying the impugned sections of the Penal Code are not unconstitutional, said declined the relief sought and dismissed the consolidated petition. Activists and members of the LGBTQ community criticized the ruling, saying it marked a major blow in the fight for equal rights in Kenya. And the news continues after this short break. At least 19 students have died in a fire at a school in India, officials said. Students were seen jumping and falling from the building in the western city of Surat as black smoke billowed from windows. Most of the victims were teenagers who had been studying at a tuition center. The initial cause of the fire was not immediately clear, and officials said the blaze spread through packed classrooms because of flammable roofing. At least 20 others sustained serious injuries and were being partly treated in hospital in Gujarat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered his condolences on Twitter and called for local authorities to provide assistance. With one final push before the EU parliamentary election, France's far-right leader Marine Le Pen held a rally on Friday night, the 24th of May, to call on voters to block French President Emmanuel Macron's government and policies. The leader of the National Rally Party spoke alongside the head of the party's list for the election, Jordan Bardella, in front of thousands of supporters gathered at Le Pen's home ground of Hennin-Beaumont. Support in France has risen from both Marine Le Pen's far-right party and President Emmanuel Macron's candidate 3 days before voting in the European Parliament elections, an opinion poll showed on Thursday, the 23rd of May. Macron, who has been campaigning in recent days, has framed the elections as a battle between anti-immigration nationalists and pro-European progressives such as himself. The United States and China will not decouple economically, according to Matt Bevin, the governor of Kentucky, on Thursday at the 5th U.S.-China Governors Collaboration Summit held in Kentucky's city of Lexington. The event is part of the 3-day China-U.S. Governors Forum, which kicked off on Wednesday to promote sub-national exchanges and understanding. Despite citing the current problems in their countries' bilateral relations, officials from both China and the U.S. expressed optimism over the future of local-level cooperation between the two countries at the forum. Bevin said that trade with China has been a major economic growth point for Kentucky, and he hopes to maintain and enhance the good relations with China. The state's Lieutenant Governor Cyrus Habib said that increasing tariffs is a short-term tactic and that he is optimistic about a mutually beneficial trade agreement being reached between the U.S. and China.
You think about this. Ryugong Ishan, constant improvement, continuous improvement. This is what we are doing now. This is the purpose of this summit. It is for us to continue to communicate with one another. Americans like to buy products made in China. People can say decouple all they want, but the consumers speak very different language every day when they go and buy things. because we can't live without China and China can't live without us. That's the reality of it.
Fundamentally, I'm optimistic about it because I don't think that this type of tactic is going to be sustainable. It's not going to accomplish the political goals that either side is thinking that it will, and I think that we will actually get to the negotiating table in the right manner.
Up next is our business news. We'll be right back. President Muhammadu Buhari has challenged wealthy individuals in the country to develop more confidence in the nation's economy by massively investing in Nigeria's critical sectors in order to boost job and wealth creation. The president gave the challenge when he hosted members of the business community and leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to iftar, breaking of the Ramadan fast at the State House, Abuja, on Friday. According to the president, business and political leaders are not only important stakeholders, but indeed indispensable to the growth and development of any economy. The president pledged to continue to make strong cases for synergy towards achieving greater investment in Nigeria's economy. Still in business, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is investigating whether Boeing has satisfactorily disclosed all of the problems related to the 737 MAX series following the global grounding of the aircraft in March, according to reports from multiple U.S. media outlets on Friday. The report quoted anonymous sources as saying that the SEC is investigating whether Boeing has fully informed its shareholders about the 737 MAX's problems and conducted an accounting audit of Boeing to assess whether its financial reports properly reflect the potential impact of these problems. On the 10th of March, Ethiopian Airlines aircraft ET-302, a Boeing 737 MAX 8, took off at 8:38 local time from Addis Ababa Bole International Airport before losing contact at 8:44 a.m. and crashing near Bishoftu. All 149 passengers and 8 crew members aboard were confirmed dead. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
Honey!
Daddy, please, can I go out with you and Mommy tonight?
Sure thing, sweetie. Get your shoes and we go.
Promise?
You have my word?
Daddy!
You know I wouldn't leave without you, my princess.
There's nothing more important than a promise. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
In entertainment, Lewis Capaldi says it feels good to see his debut album raise to the top of the UK charts in 2019 record time. His LP, Divinely Uninspired, to a hellish extent sold the equivalent of 89,506 records in week 1 and outperformed the rest of the top 10 combined. The Scotsman beats Ariana Grande's record of 65,214 first-week sales for Thank You next in February. He told the official charts, "It feels like I'm going to make some money finally after years of slogging." More than half of the sales came from streaming or downloads, with the album racking up 40.5 million plays across audio and video streaming platforms. And that's it on entertainment. The best in sports coming up right after this. In sports, the Nigeria Football Federation unveiled on Friday evening the 23 players that will have the honor of defending the colors of the country at the 2019 Women's World Cup in France. Barcelona striker Asisat Oshoala is the headline name on the roster, while Ini Umotong, Josephine Chukwunonye, Cecilia Unku and goalkeeper Christy Ohea Eruyaku are no longer in the mix after they were dropped by manager Thomas Dernaby. The squad contained 3 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 6 midfielders and 9 attackers. Other high-profile names traveling to France include Desire Okpara Nozier, Ngozi Okobi, Onome Ebi, Francesca Odega and Rita Chikwelu. In the group stage, Nigeria will face Norway on the 8th of June, South Korea on the 12th of June and France on the 17th of June. That's it on sport, and that's also our news, a roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, do follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us then. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo. Good morning.
Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
No,
really disastrous for a president
to even say
be unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was
It's
very
backfired.
terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news, and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, and this is Tea Time.
I loved the energy when I came in here. It was so positive. I was like, I can't live here.
My real names are Akbobio Kobo, Akborobo Memere.
I think my father is a comedian, because most times when he calls me, he's like, yo, make sure you use condom, them girls out there.
So are you telling me I should have shot my shots?
Ife, you have a younger brother.
Age is nothing but a number. Well, I'm a vampire.
I believe in equal rights for women, and I also believe that a man is the head of the house, so we need to draw our limits somewhere.
It feels so good. Now can I do my jam now? Yeah, you can. Thank you.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable, and it has to end now.
Infection Train is back.
They take us to the bush.
bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. If it's your first time watching, we help break business terms to its simplest form and give you tips on ways to help grow your business. In the studio with me today is Janet Adetu, a certified executive business coach with expertise in corporate protocol, professional image and leadership development. Today she will be sharing with us the need for customer centricity in running a successful business. Thank you for joining me in the studio.
You're most welcome, Irene.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We all have one thing in terms of either buying or selling. One way or the other is either you're buying something or you're selling something. As a person in itself, you're either selling yourself or having people come to you, right? Yeah. But how would you explain customer centricity for starters?
Okay, that sounds like a big word to people out there. So let me just, just break it down into, layman's terms. Basically, for every organization that's in business, I would say they do need to have some element of customer, centricity, in the sense that you must be customer centric. You must have empathy for your customer. You must put your customer first. That's how I put it, because your reputation is at stake. Your customers can make or break your reputation.
Exactly.
So whatever you're selling is really about making sure that your customers are happy with the product, they enjoy the product, they are very happy to be your ambassadors and tell other people about your product, because it's very easy, to make one or two customers. But when you lose those two customers, to get those two customers back is very difficult. So you want your customers to be happy all the time. Customers tend to jump ship easily with no apology.
Exactly.
Right. So being customer centric means making sure that you put the customer's need first. The product or the service that you're providing is useful to the customer, is beneficial, is something that they really need. You can always fine tune it, you can always add more to it, you can always keep developing your product, but such that the customer is always, going to feel that what they have from you is something that they would not want to give away. The customer loyalty comes from this aspect of customer centricity, in the sense that as an organization, it's not about your product, it's about your customer.
Exactly.
Will my customer come back? Will my customer tell other people about this product or service that I'm offering? Will my customer be my ambassador without me spending millions on marketing? Because most times, word of mouth really does help. It does a lot of businesses very well. And it's because the customer says, you care about me, you're thinking about me. So when you find some organizations sending birthday greetings out there, you know that, oh wow, this organization, they really care about me, they're thinking about me. I am really important to their business. And that's what it's all about, making sure that the customer feels that they are being taken care of, their needs are being considered. When they have complaints, they're addressed almost immediately, and their voice is being heard. Because at the end of the day, you are providing a product or a service just so that that customer will always feel happy.
And always come back,
always come back and be loyal. That's the whole idea about that being customer centric. So no matter what you're selling, whether it's something big or small or expensive, whatever, even if you have a boutique selling clothes that are not so expensive, make sure that when a customer walks into your organization or into your shop, into your showroom, you're quickly up, you're up and about. How are you, madam? Greeting them, what would you like? How can I help you? Because we do find some places where, hey, you walk into a place and they're just looking at you, they're sizing you up.
Exactly.
First of all, could I,
can she afford what I'm selling?
Yes, no, let me not waste my time. But guess what? You never can judge a book by its cover. You don't know that customer can bring you more business tomorrow. So you have to be very, very, customer service is key. It's really about exerting excellent, exceptional customer service, not just ordinary customer service. exceptional ones. Yes, absolutely. And what is it about exceptional one? It's just going the extra mile, doing the extra thing, you know. And it could be as little as, would you like a cup of tea or service? You run a spa, for instance, and someone's come to do to be relaxed and to have their massage and all that. And you know, to be relaxed, what else can I do to help my customer feel more relaxed? Offer them a drink, offer them tea or coffee, offer them something small, maybe a snack while they're waiting, just to feel special, just so that, hey, competition is real, so you need to be able to dare to be different so that you can stand out from the crowd, because customers will easily jump ship just from a normal frown.
Because I mean, it's not just you selling that thing, or you know,
it's actually not about your product.
Service.
It's not even about your service. It's about your soft skills. Exactly. And I preach it all the time. Your soft skills are what will make or break your business. So from the moment you walk in, whoever's at the front desk, a simple hello or a simple smile can make or break.
On the face, exactly.
Can make or break that relationship, you know. And I mean, I've walked into organizations where I can remember a particular time where the front desk officer, she was eating her, it was breakfast because it was in the morning, although it was rice and the aroma was there. She was eating, and as I walked in, she didn't even say hello. She just said, please sign there. She was still eating and she just pointed to the register, and I thought, can you imagine? And lo and below, she wasn't polite at all. As soon as I finished writing my name, she threw the tag at me and just said I should take a seat. So you can imagine, did I go back there again to do business? Absolutely not. So it was, and you see, customer centricity really starts from the moment you step through the gates of an organization, from the security man to the front desk officer, before you even see the person that you are actually going to see. And that's why I say to management, it's very key. Your front desk officer can kill your business.
Exactly, it's very important.
And you don't know, the person could be coming to do $1 Naira business, $1 million business. You can never tell from the person just by looking at them. And therefore, soft skills are extremely essential if you want to put your customer first. It's all about empathy, you know, it's all about self-awareness, it's about self-discipline. And it's more key to reputation management for the organization.
All right, and then we know that here in Nigeria, how well do you think we're emphasizing enough on how we take care of our customers?
No.
At some point or the other, you must have bought something from, you know, a store. You know.
I mean, some organizations are trying their best. They're actually trying their best. We can see it now based on soft skills. Some companies, as soon as you step into the organization, you're being welcomed. And as you leave, you're even being thanked for, you know, for your custom, for your, you know. So that on that point, they're trying. But there's still a lot of organizations that are actually ignoring this element. Now you can tell that there's a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of people now own their own businesses. That's really where the problem is. People who are entrepreneurs, who are not investing in soft skills or empathy for the customer, that's where the real problem is. And it's about really educating and advocating for proper customer service.
Because you see a lot of customers really complaining, oh my goodness, I went to this store, the way the receptionist or whoever just looked at me exactly like I was nothing until I brought out what I wanted, my money to pay. She started treating me right. Hello, I think that was too late to be honest.
That is, yeah, too little too late, because customer service, the moment you hire anybody who is going to be customer facing or client facing, whether it's high profile job or a sales girl, you must invest in some element of customer service. It's an assumption that everybody has an idea of how to say hello. Common greeting is part of customer service, and attending to the need of that person. So somebody comes in and they're looking for something, or you walk into a supermarket that is full of many aisles and you're looking for a particular product. The people who are on the sales floor should know where every item is. It's part of customer service. I've walked into a supermarket as well, and I asked for something, and the person said they don't know where it is, and yet they work there. You see, now that
and they
again
make efforts to find what it was.
Even if you don't know where the place is, or maybe you're new in the organization, because that can happen. Pass that customer on to someone who you think will know where that thing is, or direct them again, or just tell them, please, if you see the lady that is over there, she's in control of that area, kindly ask her. And that's all it takes, just an element of politeness. You know, good conduct and behavior is very important, and you don't just answer in a lackadaisical manner. You know, everything about your customer service is your the
gesture,
way, your body language,
exactly.
your body language, your conduct, your tone, the way you communicate. Yes, your voice, you know, the way you've come across. And have you come to say, hello, how are you? Can I help you? Because sometimes you can be somewhere and you can glaringly see that the person is looking for something or needs assistance. Even if it's not your area, it's not your department, it still means that if that's your organization, be polite enough to ask that person, how can I help you? And that is enough to at least set the right tone, and then you can pass them on to the right person. But yes, we don't see enough of that in the businesses in Nigeria today, and it's because a lot of people have taken it for granted. A lot of people think, well, I'm here to sell this thing. If I sell 10 today, I'm okay. I don't really need to emphasize on customer service. But guess what? You're in business for a long time, not just for tomorrow, and therefore you want your customers to keep on coming back and to keep on recommending you to other people. So customer service is important, and no, we're not seeing enough of it. I wish we could see enough of it. We need to be educated a bit more.
Exactly. So we know that, I know that you are a corporate image consultant and you do a whole lot with it. How can a deficit in customer centricity affect a business as a whole?
Oh, wow. It's still back to the reputation that I was talking about. Image is everything. And a picture speaks, you know, a 1,000 words, yes. But, you know, when there's no customer centricity, you're killing your organization immediately. I said initially that this competition is real. So you're not the only one that is in this business. There are a whole lot of people. But why do I want to come to you? Why am I geared towards you? Maybe in the past you have done something, or maybe you're the first person that I walked into that place to say, I like this, and I liked what I saw, and I'm coming back. But you can imagine if you're the first person that I'm approaching about this particular service or product that I'm looking for, and you frowned at me, and you didn't smile, and you didn't attend to me at all.
Your insolence, possibly.
The first thing I'm going to say is not about you. I'm going to talk about the company. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, no. The reputation is bad, and that's the image that you're killing already. And lots of businesses are suffering from this just because of that little 1 minute of soft skill. Hello, good afternoon. How can I help you? That kind of thing. And the image is dented, and sometimes, you know, they say first impressions go a long way.
Exactly.
And it takes seconds to make that first impression. So if I walk into your organization and I don't see anything related to any kind of element of politeness, and I walk out, it's going to take me a long while for me to regain trust in you. Chances are I'm not coming back. I'm actually going to go to another organization. So definitely the image is killed, and you know, there's a saying from Warren Buffett that says it can take you 20 years to build a reputation, to build your business, and it can take you 2 minutes to kill it.
All right, then we know that we've seen lots of people going into customer service, customer care training, but then it's not necessarily really translating to the way they relate with customers when they see them. Some people will tell you, oh, I'm not in the mood. I can't smile if I'm not in the mood.
Well, you're right. And there are tons and tons of trainings out there. What is that training geared towards? What is the objective of the training? I really believe when it comes to customer service, it's a practical, interactive training. It's not about theory. It's not about this is this and this is that and everything is writing. It needs practicality. It needs case studies. It needs real-life examples. You need to be put in a position whereby if a customer comes into your organization and is extremely angry, and this is a scenario, what would you do? It needs role play. You need to act it out. You need to be able to be in a position where been there, done that, seen it, all right? And that's the only way it can be embedded. And it's not a one-day thing, by the way. When it comes to customer service, it should be consistent. It should be something that you reiterate and, you know, you reinforce. Customer service training is reinforcement, all right? And it's not that they've done the training and they should be able to do it. No, it needs to be, you know, consistently, you know, things need to be in their face all the time. And sometimes you can do a face one-on-one classroom training and support it with videos, support it with more case studies, support it with write-ups, support it with things that that these are things happening every day.
Yes.
Hey, this is our business. This is the same business that we're in. Look at what happens in this company on the basis of this. A bit of research needs to be done as well. But yes, again, you're right. Some people do the training and they just can't be bothered. And that's where really etiquette comes in. It's an attitude thing.
Exactly.
Attitude is a killer. And with etiquette, it's about appearance, behavior, and conduct and communication.
Yes.
So when the attitude is wrong, the company has to look inwards. What is making the attitude of our staff bad? What is it about the morale that is being killed? Is it the environment? Is it what we are offering them? Is it something that there's a bit of conflict? Are they having workplace, conflict? Are they having some issues with each other? Are they having challenges? You have to dig right into it, because when it comes to customer service, as an employee, you also have to be happy. You also have to know about the product that you're selling. You have to have some detailed knowledge about it. And can you buy it before you start thinking about selling it to someone else? All right, and that's it. Some people don't believe in what they're selling or the product that they have. Some people don't believe in it. So it's really about aligning your employees' goals with the goals of the organization to move forward.
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll talk about etiquette. Do stay with us. Thank you. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa. Ma'am, let's talk about etiquette for a bit. Now, I know that while I was still in university, I remember one thing my chancellor used to say. He said your skill would take you to a certain position, but your character would keep you there. Putting this in line with etiquette, how well do you think we're embracing this culture in Nigeria, in our society?
And that's a good thing, a good question, because incidentally, when I started my business, I started in Nairobi, Kenya, for a number of years, and they were very open to something like this because they felt it would boost them, take them to the next level, and enhance their leadership skills. When I was crossing over to Nigeria, we had two schools of thought. We had the young ones that thought they do not have time for etiquette because they don't understand it, all right? And then we had the older ones that says, yes, 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 we need to inculcate it in our youths, that it's something that is really missing. So it's like that. And so when I started here, I realized that, look, the word etiquette, actually, I play down on it in business. I call it protocol, because I think people look at it as a bourgeoisie word. People think that it is only for the rich and the famous. People think that it's got nothing to do with them and it's for a certain category of people. And people also think it's like trying to make them be what they are not. No, 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 it is not. It is really about those skills, profitable, beneficial, purposeful, all right, skills that are used, interpersonal skills that are used to take you to the next level. There are skills that will help you get a job, stay in a job, thrive in a job. There are skills that will help you escalate to the next level. There are skills that will help you maneuver around situations that seem to be challenging.
And this seems to be one thing that people don't really understand.
No, they don't understand the importance of ensuring that there are certain soft skills you need to be a leader. Now, it is true, you don't readily see it in the university, you're not readily taught, but certain circumstances will position you in a place whereby, hey, I wish I had better knowledge about this, I would have handled it better, all right? And it's about, again, ABC, your whole appearance and your attitude, your behavior, and your conduct and communication. All those three package you and increase your image. And etiquette really is about, so I'll start with manners. Manners is the right thing to do at the right time. I see you in the morning, I should say good morning. That's manners. I see you in the afternoon, I should say good afternoon. Or in the evening, you know, I should greet you because I'm just seeing you for the first time that day. Etiquette really is how do I greet?
How you do it.
How do I greet? And sometimes, well, many times actually, it's influenced by culture and religion. So if I'm in Asia, there's a way I will greet you. If I'm in Africa, there is a way I will greet you. And if I'm in any other part of the world, there is a way I will greet you. So it's based on the geographical location, the culture, and the religion as well. Protocol is when. So manners, etiquette, and protocol go together. So should I greet you now, or should I greet you 5 hours later? The protocol means I ought to greet you now as I'm seeing you. As we sit at the table and we want to eat, the protocol is take your napkin, place it on your lap, all right? Pick up your cutlery and start eating. All right, so that's the protocol. The etiquette is, how do I start eating? Do I eat with my knife and fork? Do I eat with chopsticks? Or do I eat with my hand? And of course, the manners is making sure you eat with your people around you in mind. So don't eat with too many, don't talk when your mouth is full, all right? So don't lean across the table while you're eating. When you have knife and fork in your hands, don't be wielding it as you're talking or you're gesturing. It's dangerous, all right? So, but you're right again. I wish we could see more. The society, and it's not just locally, actually, it is global. Unfortunately, globally, there's a lot of rudeness. There's a lot of very bad etiquette. There's a lot of very bad conduct. And when it comes to business, an organization will hire you for your technical skills, but they will fire you for your behavioral skills.
Exactly.
So poor behavior, you will be fired. Good technical skills are good. But you see, that is why it's very important that you must remember that today, soft skills are the new hard skills. People are not hiring because you had a first class. People are hiring because we want to know, do you actually have leadership potential? Do you work well with other people? Do you have the ability to lead a team, to work with a team? Because it's not just me, myself, and I, you see. And therefore, etiquette means being polite to people, being considerate, being kind, being able to do things together. It's not just about you. And therefore, we try to emphasize it in terms of when it comes to leadership, you must have empathy. You must be able to understand. You know, emotional intelligence is key to any leadership.
Exactly.
Any
I was going to come to
leader.
that. What's the What's that connection between, etiquette and emotional intelligence?
Absolutely. A good leader should always have elements of emotional intelligence. You are leading people, so you should be able to be sensitive to how you come across to them and how they come across to you. When you say something, how does it be thoughtful about how did that land on them? Was I a bit too harsh? Or did I really take consideration about my words? Then you walk in, you see one of your staff who's just had a baby, and you know that she's got a young child, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, you know what? I think it's time, because of your baby, let me consider, for you to be productive and not think about your baby all day long, I need to make things more conducive for you. So I think you should come in at a certain time and leave at a certain time. And that time you're there, you're most productive. But if I keep you in the office till 6, 7, 8 p.m. and I know you had a newborn baby, you're not going to be productive at all. And that means I, as a leader, must be sensitive to my circumstances and to people that I'm leading. And it's very important. It's about self-awareness. It's about self-discipline, it's about empathy, it's about so many things that make you lead. As a leader, you cannot claim to know everything. You should be in a position where you're also learning from the people that work with you, and that makes an all-rounder. And it means, therefore, as a leader, you must have some etiquette. You must be able to be polite, because you are actually the epitome of, somebody's looking at you. You are coaching or mentoring from a distance without even knowing it. People are watching the way you do things. Are you a good leader? Do you show good traits, good leadership traits? And that's where the whole full package comes in. If you are a leader who is very rude to your subordinates, shouts all the time, extremely inconsiderate, could not care less about, I don't care, finish it at 10 p.m., that's your business, then you are definitely going to have real problems with your leadership style. Poor productivity, and the bottom line will be affected completely. And people will begin to leave, high turnover, just because the boss, we don't get on with the boss. So a lot of things are connected, and it's almost I wouldn't call it customer service from the external point, but it's internal customer service. Am I polite to the people that I work with?
Because it's going to translate to the customers themselves.
Absolutely.
All right, finally, because of time.
Yes.
Do you need to go to a school to learn all of these things, or you can pick it up from the environment?
You mean etiquette itself?
Yes.
Behavior, conducts, interpersonal skills. To be honest with you, you don't necessarily need to go to school, because, as they say, when it comes to manners, manners is everywhere. Manners is free. Manners is priceless. The problem is you can lose millions without manners. And, and again, with manners, and etiquette, it can actually open doors for you more than any technical education that you have had. But you can pick it up as you go along. But it's nice to be in a position where you can get elements of training on it because it gives you a foot forward, all right? It's not to say where the etiquette schools, I need to go there. Sometimes
schools. I know I went to a finishing school though.
Yes, which I think is fantastic because I run a finishing school myself. But you see, at this point in time, if you get the opportunity to go, don't say, oh, I don't want to go, or I have to go because my office says I have to go. Every learning experience is important. Knowledge is power. Whenever you find yourself in a position where you're learning something new, grab it. You might not need that knowledge now, you might need it later. But yes, it's good to go to a place where you can learn some of these soft skills because it's an added advantage. It's your panache advantage, I call it. But then again, always be observant. You know, use people that are mentors to you, that are coaches to you, that, you know, you really like the way they are. Watch the way they do things. Watch the way they conduct themselves, how they communicate, how they behave, their appearance and their attitude, and you will learn a whole lot more.
All right,
Definitely.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. And that's all on Ladies Talking Business today. I do hope you really learned a lot because I did. Until next time, I still remain your host, Irene Ubani. Bye.
The Ramadan Kareem globally commenced on the 6th of May 2019 as Muslims around the world observed the customary 30 days fast. Plus TV Africa visited the Lekki Central Mosque in Lagos, Nigeria to speak with the Imam of the mosque, Ridwan Jamiu, on the essence of this holy month of Ramadan.
Ramadan is a very fantastic event in the life of a Muslim. One, it brings about unity among the Muslims. It demonstrates universality of man and unity of mankind. God wants us to be one, as He Himself is one. We have only one Lord and one God. Allah has created us, and we have different tribes, colors, and languages. But these are not reasons for us to discriminate against one another. So fasting has been prescribed since Allah instituted Islam. This is why we have in the Quran, in Quran chapter 2, verse 183. Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, believers, kutiba alaykumus siyam, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. Fasting has been prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those who came before you. That is, those who came before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah says, la'allakum tattaqun. The purpose is, God wants you to be pious. And when you are fasting, you abstain from certain things. That will lead you to piety. When you are fasting, you keep away from what to eat, your food, your drink, and sexual intercourse from dawn to dusk. So Ramadan is meant to discipline us, how to discipline ourselves to become decent people, to become morally upright, to be closer to Allah. The purpose is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, for you to become pious. That is, the purpose of fasting is to build in you piety, God consciousness, sincerity and faith. Early in the morning, before sun appears, and also when the sun sets. That is what is known as fasting. That's a time frame for fasting. After sunset, one is allowed to eat whatever you want to eat. You can drink, you can have sexual relations with your wife until the other day. Ramadan is now an opportunity God gave us to unite again as all Muslims. That's why all Muslims now are fasting all over the world, wherever they are found. And when you are so united, Ramadan is also to teach you that as humanity, you must be humane. As you are united in humanity, you are doing the same thing, you have to be humane. You have to love one another with true love. Love which brings about kindness, which brings about compassion, which brings about generosity to others. There is more to fasting than keeping away from eating and drinking. So what is expected of us is to conduct ourselves in a good way. Because our Prophet ﷺ said, "Man lam yada' qawl az-zur wal 'amal bih." Ramadan is a month that we should be closer to Allah than ever. This is an opportunity for us. So Allah wants us to make much supplications in this month of Ramadan, because prayers are answered. This month is month of forgiveness. Allah forgives us our sins because of our faith in Him and because of our love for Him, keeping away from things we strongly desire for the sake of God. So for our colleagues, the Muslims, the non-Muslims generally, who may want to participate in this fasting, you are all welcome, but with a condition. You have to declare La ilaha illallah, that there is no God who deserves to be worshipped except one God, that is Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So once you declare this, and you join us also in prayers, the 5 compulsory prayers, fasting is okay, you can join us and be fasting. But without these 2, so fasting will not be valid for any non-Muslim.
For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live, and this is News on the Hour. I am Tokumbo Taiwo. We begin the news at this hour that the Code of Conduct Bureau has said President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, governors and other public officers whose tenure ends on the 29th of May must submit their end of tenure asset declaration forms on the 28th of May 2019. However, other public officers, mainly members of the outgoing 8th National Assembly who were inaugurated on the 9th of June 2015, have up until June 8, 2019, a few hours to the expiration of their tenure to declare their assets. Those expected to declare their assets by virtue of the constitutional provision are the President, Vice President, President and Deputy President of the Senate, Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Speakers and Deputy Speakers of State Houses of Assembly and all members of legislative houses. The rest are governors and deputy governors, the Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of each state, ministers, commissioners and secretary to the government of the Federation. Paragraph 11 of Part 1 to the 5th schedule to the Constitution compels public officers to declare their assets to the CCB immediately after taking office and thereafter at the end of every 4 years. The public officers are obliged to submit to the Code of Conduct Bureau a written declaration of all of their properties, assets and liabilities and those of his unmarried children under the age of 18 years. Chief Press Secretary of the CCB, Charity Utok, said the incoming political office holders were given up to 3 months to make their declarations to the CCB, while the outgoing ones must do so as soon as they step out of office. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday hosted members of the business community and officials of the All Progressives Congress APC to Iftar, which is the Ramadan breaking of fast, at the State House in Abuja. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, were among the government functionaries at the fast-breaking event. Members of the business community in attendance of the fast-breaking meal included Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, Tony Elumelu, Isiaka Rabiu, and Emeka Ofo. Others were the chairman of the Sahara Group, Kola Adeshina, and the chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Najim Yassin. A national chairman of the APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, immediate past the national chairman of the party, John Odigye Oyegun, the party's national vice chairman, Northwest, Inua Abdulkader, and other party officials also joined the president to share the fast-breaking meal. Nigeria's Supreme Court has upheld the election of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. In a unanimous judgment on Friday, a 5-man panel of the court dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate in the last governorship election in Ekiti, Kolakbo Eleka. The PDP and the Eleka had appealed to the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the decision of the Justice Suleiman Belgor Labour-led election tribunal that held that Fayemi was validly elected. In the lead judgment by Justice John Okoro, the court held that the appeal was unmeritorious and proceeded to uphold an earlier judgment by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which affirmed the decision of the election tribunal to the effect that Fayemi was validly elected. The judge added that he could not interfere with the concurrent findings of the two lower courts, both the trial tribunal and the Court of Appeal, because the appellants, PDP and Olushola Eleka, failed to establish that both lower courts erred and misapplied the law in their judgments. The acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, Justices Olukayode Ariwola, Paul Galumje and Uwani Abba Aji, who were also on the panel, agreed with the lead judgment. Meanwhile, Professor Kolakbo Olushola Eleka, former Deputy Governor of Ekiti and People's Democratic Party PDP governorship candidate in the last governorship election, has congratulated Governor Kayode Fayemi on his election victory at the Supreme Court. While reacting to his loss at the Apex Court, the PDP candidate said he decided to congratulate Fayemi because of his nature as an Omoluabi, which is a cultured person. He, however, implored Fayemi to sincerely exhibit the true Omoluabi attitude Ekiti people were known for by focusing on governance in the true sense of it. He said, and I quote, "My consolation at this time is that people of Ekiti, as well as Fayemi and the APC, knew I was robbed, and God being God, the true story shall be told someday by those who orchestrated the theft." Also, the Supreme Court on Friday nullified the elections of the candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State in the 2019 general elections. Delivering a unanimous judgment of the five-man panel led by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, the Apex Court declared the first runners-up in the 2019 general elections in the state as the winners of all of the posts earlier declared to have been won by the APC and its candidates. Justice Paul Galinje, who read the lead judgment, upheld the decision of the Sokoto Division of the Court of Appeal to the effect that the APC did not conduct any valid primary election and as such had no candidate for any of the elections in the state. He added that the party and the candidates with the second highest votes in the various elections were the valid winners. The governor-elect of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale of the People's Democratic Party, has commended the judiciary for standing up to the truth in the discharge of its responsibilities. He became the new governor-elect on Friday, being the candidate with the second highest number of votes from the last governorship election in the state. In a statement signed by his aide, Umar Muhammad, he said, and I quote, "The judgment is a testimony that the judiciary has remained fair in the discharge of its responsibilities." In other legal matters now, Governor Aminu Masari has signed into law mandatory death sentence for anyone convicted of cattle rustling or kidnapping in Katsina State. Similarly, the offense of rape carries the mandatory sentence of life in addition to a fine and compensation to the victim. Two students of Caleb University's Imota in Ikorodu, Lagos State, who were among many others protesting some new set of rules in the school, have been reportedly shot by men of the police force engaged to bring peace in the school. The students were said to be protesting against the suspension of some students and a policy of the school that forbids students hanging out till 7 p.m. when some policemen drafted in to restore order allegedly shot at them, with others sustaining injuries. Meanwhile, former Inspector General of Police has advocated for the use of stud guns in the Nigeria Police Service. While speaking during an exclusive one-on-one interview with Plus TV Africa, the former police boss feels the initiative will curb the spate of extrajudicial killings.
The 200 we procured was supposed to, be sent to the training institutions so that every policeman, when they go for their training program, either development courses or whatever, they now introduce them to, the use of those stun guns. But they kept them. They didn't implement that, and that is what the new IG has now thought necessary. That they should start teaching them the use of the stun gun.
Okay. Yeah. Will the budgets cover for that?
Well, it's not something that is going to be incremental. I bought 200. If, it will be 3 years down the line since I retired. If they've been buying maybe 200, by now, what is the population? It's not every policeman that goes to the highway. So it would have been an incremental thing, and they will start increasing the stock as time goes on. The idea is that stun gun reduces fatalities. It's not as an AK-47 that kills you instantly.
But the allegation is that when you use that stun gun once and use it again on the same person, there's a possibility. You cannot use it on
the same person for,
why how small these police officers can be.
No, you can't use it on the same person. All it's supposed to do is just to neutralize you, so that they can effect arrest. And, there are rules and regulations on when to use firearms. And it's all about capacity building. We have to be able to build the capacity of our, law enforcement officers to be sufficiently confident enough to interact with members of the public. Sometimes education tends to, paper off those rough edges that you have. The more educated you are, the more accommodating you are. You don't easily see people annoying you, telling you things that are likely to upset you.
Right.
You could, in response, maybe convert it to a joke. I remember a British Prime Minister who went for a rally. They were using, tomatoes that were bad, and to picture him. And he looked at them and said, "Oh, you guys are lucky you even have potatoes and tomatoes and rotten eggs to throw at me. If it's the other political party, that comes to power, you will not have access to some." You see, you can always convert something that is negative to positive. And it's all about education. It's all about character.
And talking rail infrastructure now, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, says Nigeria's Central Railway line will commence from Abuja to Itakpe via Lokoja in Kogi State and has been approved by the Federal Executive Council. The minister, while giving an appraisal of ongoing rail projects in the country, commended the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari, saying the federal government has proven its resolve to build critical infrastructure and is not owing any counterpart funding for other rail projects. He said there is no cause for alarm over the expected loan for the Central Rail line, as the business model being adopted will guarantee repayment of the loan.
We have paid we paid the counterpart funding, that's not a problem. And we must thank the president. His commitment, you will enjoy being a minister when the president is committed to you. You look as if you're the star minister. You're not the star minister. Any other minister they put there and has the attention of the president will be a star minister. Because the focus of the president is on the construction or building of infrastructure. It's not because Amaechi or Fashola are his best of friends. If you take John and Mary to Minister of Transport and Minister of Works, they will get the same attention because the president is focused on infrastructure. So we are delighted and we thank the president for that attention. We thank Minister of Finance for that attention, and we thank the Nigerian people for that. There are other projects that are considered for construction. The one that we just got an approval from the cabinet is the Central Line. The Central Line begins from Abuja through Baro to Itakpe with a spot to Lokoja. That has been approved. With a seaport in Warri, approved. The problem is that in that case, the federal government is not borrowing money. The SPV will borrow the money. The federal government will contribute 10% of the equity. No, 15% of the equity. The contractor will contribute 10% of the equity. Then we will form an SPV that will borrow 75% of the equity. The federal government will give a sovereign guarantee to enable them to get quick loan. In turn, the contractor will give us a performance guarantee. What is performance guarantee? The performance guarantee is that since you have concessioned this, after completion, you've concessioned it to me, I will run the seaport and the rail line in such a manner that I will pay back the loan in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, based on what the outcome of the listing is. So the payment of the loan will be done by the SPV. The federal government will guarantee the loan, And in turn, the SPV or the contractor will give us a guarantee that that if they call our SPV, we should call their performance guarantee. That's the one. If it works, that's a wonderful type of PPP. And it was ingenious of the ministry to have done that.
And rounding up the news across Nigeria, we have reports from the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce as it organized an annual event for an exhibition of African food and products themed Sustainability and Innovation Pathway to Business. It focuses on providing up-to-date information on the Nigerian and U.S. business environment. Correspondent Amaka Okoye has the details.
The event brought individuals, men and women entrepreneurs and stakeholders in businesses to either showcase products or be participants in the event. The organizers tell us why today's event is significant.
It is a lot of exposure for the local producers to enhance their access to export market and also to finances. Communication is also key. You have some communication companies here like Glow, that can facilitate communication from the farmers to the storage silos, to the financial people, to the exporters. What used to be probably taking about 7 days now can be realized in a day.
This is a very, very important event, and the significance of it is to project what we can do as Nigerians, African food exhibition and products, so we can showcase the various products that our small and medium-scale enterprises are into.
Partners as well as business owners say it offers them an opportunity to bring their products to more and more people.
The event is very critical to our aspiration as an institution because the event speaks to sustainability and innovation. And if you cast your mind back and check the history of Nigerian banks, you'll discover that Sterling Bank has been a bank that has been at the forefront of sustainability and also innovation. And we've been able to deploy several creative and innovative solutions, digital solutions in the banking industry that have disrupted the banking industry in Nigeria and also in Africa.
I'm happy that people have been coming around, even if they don't buy, but they learn a lot about living a healthy lifestyle and the food that will help them.
I strongly believe that this kind of gathering is critical to the success of our country and especially for our youths that are out of school. How do I mean? Go around the world, you realize that MSME are the bedrock of every economy in the world. So gathering like this, bringing them together, is a major foundation for us to grow our economy. Secondly, you agree with me that bringing creative solution helps solve problems. And there's a saying that if you are too big to start small, you'll be too small to start big.
Speakers and panelists encourage participants to make the best of the opportunity to network and grow. For Plus TV Africa, Amaka Okoye.
And it's time to take a quick break now. Stay tuned for more news when we return. A panel of 3 judges in Kenya unanimously upheld laws that criminalize consensual same-sex relations between adults. The judges said the Constitution adequately protected LGBTQ people's rights. In the ruling, the Kenyan High Court upheld the colonial-era ban on same-sex relations on Friday. Presiding Judge Rosalind Aburili gave ruling saying the impugned sections of the Penal Code are not unconstitutional and declined that the relief sought and dismissed the consolidated petition. Activists and members of the LGBTQ community criticized the ruling, saying it marked a major blow in the fight for equal rights in Kenya. And the news continues after the short break. A strong earthquake measuring a magnitude 5.1 hit near Tokyo on Saturday afternoon, just hours before US President Donald Trump's arrival for a 4-day visit. Buildings in Tokyo shook, but there were no immediate reports of damage or tsunami warnings. The tremor was focused in Chiba Prefecture, east of Tokyo, where Trump is scheduled to play golf with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Sunday, the 26th of May in the morning. The race to become the next Conservative Party leader has begun following Theresa May's announcement that she'll step down next month. Party bosses expect a new leader to be chosen by the end of July. May confirmed on Friday that she'll resign as party leader on the 7th of June, but will continue as Prime Minister while the leadership contest takes place. She agreed with chairman of the Tory backbench 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady, that the process to choose the new leader should begin the week after she stands down.
Ever since I first stepped through the door behind me as Prime Minister, I have striven to make the United Kingdom a country that works not just for a privileged few, but for everyone, and to honour the result of the EU referendum. Back in 2016, we gave the British people a choice. Against all predictions, the British people voted to leave the European Union. I feel as certain today as I did 3 years ago that in a democracy, if you give people a choice, you have a duty to implement what they decide. I have done my best to do that. But it is now clear to me that it is in the best interests of the country for a new Prime Minister to lead that effort. So I am today announcing that I will resign as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party on Friday the 7th of June, so that a successor can be chosen. I've agreed with the party chairman and with the chairman of the 1922 committee that the process for electing a new leader should begin in the following week. To have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
Meanwhile, world leaders have been reacting to Theresa May's resignation. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said she respected the decision of her British counterpart to quit as Prime Minister and said Berlin will continue to work closely with London to secure an orderly Brexit.
Ich respektiere natürlich diese Entscheidung, habe immer sehr gut mit der britischen Premierministerin Theresa May zusammengearbeitet. Der Austritt Großbritanniens aus der Europäischen Union ist ein tiefer Einschnitt, eine tiefe Zäsur, und wir werden unabhängig von der Entwicklung jetzt in Großbritannien weiter seitens der Bundesregierung alles daran setzen, dass es eine gute partnerschaftliche Beziehung mit Großbritannien gibt, einen geordneten Austritt und anschließend weiter eine gute Zusammenarbeit, und ich hoffe, dass das auch in Zukunft gut gelingt.
Also, former British Prime Minister David Cameron said he felt desperately sorry for Theresa May following her tearful resignation.
Well, I feel desperately sorry for Theresa and for Philip. I mean, she worked incredibly hard. She's a dedicated public servant, and I know what it feels like when you come to realise that your leadership time has finished, that the country needs a new leader, and it's extremely difficult and painful to step outside Downing Street and to say those things. But I think she is and she was a dedicated public servant. She worked incredibly hard on our behalf. I think she deserves our gratitude for that, and this will be a very difficult day. Well, I know that she will feel extremely frustrated, as I think many of us feel frustrated, that ultimately the people who most wanted Brexit in the end wouldn't vote for it. And as she said today, in the end you have to compromise in politics. Compromise is not a dirty word. You have to, you can't always get exactly what you want, and it's a shame that people couldn't see that.
British voters in South London welcomed the resignation of British Prime Minister Theresa May on Friday, but said they didn't think her successor will have a solution to Britain's exit from the European Union. May's departure deepens the Brexit crisis, as a new leader who should be in place by the end of July is likely to want a more decisive split, raising the chances of a confrontation with the EU and potentially a snap parliamentary election.
Yeah, she had to go, didn't she? She had to. She's not a businesswoman, is she? She's never run a business, so she doesn't know how to put a deal together. So, unfortunately, she laid her cards up front in the first place. weren't good project to do.
I
think she had a tough job. I do think there's time for there to be a new leadership, but I don't think that it's going to make any difference to what needs to be done, because clearly we've got one of two outcomes. Either we're going to stay in the EU or we're going to have some sort of WTO exit, and I'm not sure who can deliver that. So, I mean, I think that it's probably a good outcome, but what will come next, I don't know.
And I think with the rise of the popularity with Farage, I think that now everyone has to pivot and face reality, which is people want to have Brexit, they voted for it, and it should be honoured.
I don't agree the way they have treated Theresa May. I think it's quite sad, really. Yeah, because I don't think the next Prime Minister will do much better. It's my feeling.
Up next is our business news. In business, President Muhammadu Buhari has challenged wealthy individuals in the country to develop more confidence in the nation's economy by massively investing in Nigeria's critical sectors in order to boost job and wealth creation. The president gave the challenge when he hosted members of the business community and the leadership of the All Progressives Congress to iftar, the breaking of the Ramadan fast, at the State House in Abuja on Friday. According to the president, business and political leaders are not only important stakeholders, but indeed indispensable to the growth and development of any economy. The president pledged to continue to make strong case for synergy towards achieving greater investment in Nigeria's economy. And still to come is a roundup on our entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
Best concert of your life? Don't just stay cool, stay refreshed with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Pick your lane, solo or bigger boy.
Taste the feeling.
And in entertainment, Adam Levine has been announced to be leaving the music competition The Voice as a coach. It was announced that the 14-year-old American singer will be leaving the show after featuring in 16 seasons as a coach. Carson Daly, who hosts The Voice, made this announcement on Friday morning on the Today Show. In the course of his coaching for 16 seasons, Adam has won 3 times with Javia Colon, Tessan Chin, and Season 9, Jordan Smith, respectively. The singer will be replaced by Gwen Stefani. That's it on entertainment. Coming up next is the very best in sports, and that's coming up right after this. In sports, the Nigeria national men's cricket team have failed to qualify for the ICC T20 World Cup qualifier at the Africa Finals in Uganda. The Yellow Greens finished third behind Namibia and Kenya. The PRO of the Federation, Musa Ehizo-Jie, in a statement blamed the persistent rainfall in Lugogo and Kyambogo, Uganda, for their failure to make it to the qualifiers. Nigeria lost the opening game to Kenya in a fairly contested encounter. They defeated Botswana in the second game. The team will arrive the country on Sunday, the 26th of May. And that's it on sports, and also that's it on our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, do follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us again. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo saying have a great day.
Welcome to Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I am Fumona Jefe. Now, this episode is focusing on the ingenious ways Africans are finding solutions to health and addiction challenges on the continent. We start with Burkina Faso, where a team has created soap to prevent people from malaria. Yes, you heard me right, soap. Now, let's see how that works.
Dusk is hunting time for the world's deadliest insect. The Anopheles mosquito is responsible for malaria, a disease that kills nearly 1 million people each year. But now a young chemist has come up with an innovative way to fight both the mosquito and the disease. His ambitious goal is to save 100,000 lives by 2020. For decades, people in Africa have died of malaria. The disease is responsible for many problems here. I think it's important that we Africans ourselves find a solution. But that's not so easy. Each year, some $2 billion are invested in anti-malaria programs, but so far all attempts to eradicate the pathogen have failed. Many approaches are both expensive and impractical, says Gérard Nyondiko. He wants to do it differently with a simple but effective weapon. We decided to work with soap because it's a product that can be easily integrated into people's everyday lives. Soap is used in 95% of all African households, including the poorest. Faso soap is not only an effective cleansing agent, its smell also repels mosquitoes. The protective function is based on a combination of essential oils obtained from local plants. At night, nets keep the mosquitoes at bay, but during the day and early evening, there's little protection. I'm a construction worker and am very exposed during working hours. I often get bitten, so it's hard not to get infected with malaria. Repellent creams are expensive and rarely effective. You have to constantly reapply it, and you still get bitten. Faso soap will cost no more than conventional soap and promises protection during the critical times of the day. Our goal is to provide 6 hours of protection. This would halve the risk of infection. The idea of creating an anti-malaria soap came to the chemist while studying for his master's degree in Ouagadougou. At university, we did courses on setting up a company, like how to design a product, what benefits it will bring, etc. It was an eye-opener. Since 2015, Gérard has been supported by IT specialist Franck Langevin.
Mainly, I came here because of, the vision of Gérard about like a new innovative way to tackle malaria, and I was, excited to join Gérard and see how we can work together to fight malaria.
Franck Langevin takes care of the financial side because research is expensive.
In Burkina Faso, it's pretty difficult to find funding for innovation. You find money for development projects. So if you want to dig, a hole, to find water, or if you want to build school, you can find money. If you want to innovate or create something, like what we do, it's more difficult.
In early 2015, the project was at risk because there were no funds. Then a crowdfunding campaign brought in more than 70,000 euros. I always tell myself if I can save one life or two or perhaps even 100,000, my greatest dream will come true. And the sooner it does, the better, because every 2 minutes a child still dies of malaria.
Still on malaria, we head to Benin, where green medicine is used to combat malaria.
Benin is a country with a great variety of plants. The API Benin company uses some for medicinal purposes. Which ones exactly, the company won't say. The fear of being copied is very high. API Benin produces over 50 herbal medicines. The knowledge has been handed down through generations of healers. The malaria treatment known as API Palou also has its roots in traditional medicine.
For us, it's great to experience this moment in Africa, especially in Benin. We're now able to produce effective drugs. They're a local African response to local African problems.
So far, API Palou is an approved treatment for malaria in 5 countries in West and Central Africa. Thanks to exports, more than 300 employees now work for the company. In 2014, it earned 500 million CFA francs, which is approximately 760,000 euros. Money that is urgently needed for infrastructure. In the rainy season, the trucks that deliver API Benin's medicines regularly get stuck in the mud of unpaved roads. Traffic only flows in the business center Cotonou, about 100 kilometers away. Valentin Agon started the green medicine in Benin 25 years ago. The remedy against malaria is a source of great pride.
In Africa, 3,000 people die from malaria every day. As a researcher, you cannot close your eyes and wait for the solutions to come from elsewhere. That's why we decided to fight against this disease ourselves. To do so, we use herbs known to our parents and ancestors.
The API drugs are sold by the company's own pharmacies. So far, there are 300 countrywide. The capsules against malaria are purely herbal, Agon says, and have no side effects.
Ours cost €1.50, theirs costs €10. That's the difference. Another is, of course, that we're close to nature. You can say we are plants. Well, they represent molecules and synthesis. Nowadays, people want plants.
The people of Cotonou are happy to buy the medicine. In addition to the effect, the price is also a decisive factor. For people with an average per capita income of €1,300 a year.
Now, next up is the spice man in Zanzibar, Patrick. He's sharing his tools and knowledge with spice farmers.
In Zanzibar, you can find many of the world's spices. But the times when you could get rich from trading these spices are long gone. Before, all the farmers in the area depended on tourists. If no one visited the farm, it was difficult to survive. A lot of them had to give up and looked for other work. Together with his neighbours, spice farmer Patrick Maganga has managed to corner a new market. Among the spice farmers of Zanzibar, he's considered an expert, and all the others come to him to buy new seedlings. I think it's because I exclusively use cow dung and select the plants very carefully. Along with 30 other spice farmers, Maganga founded a cooperative. Since then, the farmers have shared everything: tools, labour, and above all, knowledge. Together, they've found a way to expand. Cloves are now grown on a large scale. Maganga's neighbour, Ali Faum, explains how the approach led to success.
We decided to be certified organic. And when we sell to our customer as organic, the price is increased. Yeah, from 15 to 20,000 shillings.
The cooperative is a young company based in Stone Town. It seeks out organic products from the islands. All the spices are hand-picked and then shipped to Europe. Farouk Musa is pleased with the close cooperation with the farmers.
Nowadays they have a market, they know where they can sell their stuff, so even the production is a little bit higher. And last year it was about 500 seedling of the clove they've already planted, so probably after 2 years they'll start to harvest more 500 new plants.
Patrick Maganga has been able to build a new house with the additional income. His wife is very happy. I'm very proud of him. Life is much easier than before, and the family gets everything it needs. More and more people who have seen how successful we are with the organization now come here. It's the only way to make good money around here. His oldest son now has his own small family. Maganga is hoping to use the profits from the next harvest to build him a house.
We'll take a quick break. When we return, Africa on the Move will still be here.
Country people, we thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke them, it will cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Niger, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way they inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Niger, every will enjoy television news for Bonge Pidgin English.
For more story, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Really disastrous for a president
to even say
be unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was
backfired.
very terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news, and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, alcoholism is the leading cause of gender-based violence and car accidents in Cape Verde. A rehabilitation center was started in 1996 in the country to help recovering alcoholics.
This wood was going to be thrown away. Now Janilson Fernandez is using his carpentry skills to make it into a cupboard. 9 months ago, he was struggling with alcoholism. Then he came for help at El Shaddai Tents, a rehab center in southern Cape Verde. Now he works from dawn till dusk, 7 days a week. The cupboard is a gift for his mother.
Ela me ajudou muito e me deu bastante conselho.
She helped me very much. She told me to stop drinking alcohol, to overcome this addiction.
Ela me apoiou muito.
She supported me a lot and advised me. And now that I'm here in this rehab center, I think she'll be very happy with what I'm doing for her.
When he was younger, Janilson dreamt of being a lawyer, but at the age of 19, he started drinking. Later, things got out of hand. Janilson punched his brother and was ordered to pay a fine he couldn't afford. He then started drinking heavily and spent all his money on alcohol.
Já estava meio morto, porque já foi espancado por thugs.
I was half dead because I was beaten up by thugs 2 or 3 times. I almost died. I was hospitalized and in a coma. And then I just thought about my daughter, because I love her very much. I think about her all the time.
At El Shaddai Tents, there are strict rules. All 40 residents of the center are woken up at 6:30 in the morning. After morning prayers and breakfast, they start work. There's bread to be baked, and some at the rehab center work on the organic farm, which provides food for the residents. Whatever is left is sold in a nearby village. The profits come back to the rehab center. Honorio Fragata founded it in 1996. The 68-year-old says there's a lot more work to be done.
What's the main cause of death in Cape Verde? Alcoholism. What's the #1 cause of car accidents? Alcoholism. What's behind gender-based violence and broken families? Alcoholism.
More than 3,000 people have passed through the center since it was founded, but now it has hit hard times. At the moment, it's difficult to pay electricity, water, and food bills. Many patients stay here after their recovery because they can't find a job. Janilson Fernandez is among those struggling to leave El Shaddai. He hasn't given up hope of making a living through carpentry to take care of his family.
From helping alcoholics, we go to helping polio survivors. Abdullahi Rewadi is a survivor himself, and he's leading this cause.
These steps were once an insurmountable challenge for Abdullahi Rilwani. It was such a daunting challenge that it dashed all his hopes for the future. Because he couldn't climb stairs like these when he was younger, he was forced to abandon his studies.
When I was studying, I was not as big as I am today. There are some of my colleagues, students, if they feel I'm tired, some of them even assist me by even carrying me at their back. You understand? But this will not go well for me, and I will not even make it very, I will not even appreciate it that way. I prefer a situation where I'll be using my wheelchair myself.
Along with others who have the disease, Abdullahi Rilwani founded the Association of Polio Survivors of Nigeria. They teach one another practical handiwork and build their own wheelchairs. Rilwani says life isn't easy for people with disabilities in Nigeria. It's difficult to get even a basic wheelchair. This three-wheeler is a luxury model. The association also builds beds and other pieces of furniture. It creates jobs and extra income for many polio survivors. But there are still some problems.
Whenever we produce product, the society seems not to patronize the product because of some of them. I don't even know whether some of them think the product are disabled or are polio victims too. So these are areas we really want the government and the society to believe that all the product we are made has nothing to do with our disability. It is part of our abilities.
Abdullahi Rilwani is a dedicated activist. He travels widely, telling villagers the importance of getting their children immunized against polio. Public health campaigns like his have greatly reduced the numbers of children contracting polio in rural areas.
You don't even need to talk much. If polio is not real, why should I be disabled? Why should I be a cripple? Why should I be crippling? So it's as a result of not being immunized when I was a kid or when we were a kid. That is why we are having one disability or the other.
After work, Abdullahi Rilwani visits the family of a friend who's also disabled as a result of polio. Rilwani married last year and now has a child who's healthy. Despite what many people believe, polio is not a hereditary disease. Much has changed for the better in recent years, thanks in large part to Abdullahi Rilwani and his work. He's a very old friend and the best campaigner I know on behalf of our cause. Abdullahi Rilwani wants to resume his studies and pursue a course in law so he'll be better skilled to help people with disabilities fight for their rights. In Nigerian society, he says, they're still marginalized, so they have everything to gain.
And finally, in Africa on the move, in Togo, a doctor is bringing relief to the rural areas.
We're in Chaplemé, 70 kilometers away from Togo's capital, Lomé. Dr. Michel Kodom is one of the few doctors who comes by regularly. The checkup is free. His nickname here, the poor man's doctor. We're trying to treat these students for all possible parasites and to check that they are healthy for the start of the new term. Dr. Kodom founded the organization M Afrique 10 years ago. His goal? Providing health care for all. If we didn't make the effort, we wouldn't be able to reach these people. That's the biggest problem. Did you see how long it took to reach the village? So it's a problem of mobilizing the resources. Chaplemé doesn't have a health centre, just a public school. Kodom's regular visits are the only health service the 1,500 villagers get. Today, he's accompanied by a representative from the Ministry of Health. Togo's government is unable to pay the doctor. So Kodom uses every occasion to call for donations. The ministry representative is impressed by his work. I don't even have the words to describe this. It's an extraordinary effort. The next morning, Kodom is back in Lomé. Not even the capital has a well-functioning healthcare system. In his private clinic, the doctor sees patients who can pay for their treatment. The idea? Those who can afford it should also pay more. He uses the money he earns to finance his trips to the villages. A miniature solidarity system, with CODOM at the centre. We always tell ourselves it's great to treat the patients who have insurance and the money to pay us. But it's also important to think of those who don't have the means to visit a clinic and get treatment. But the money is not enough to provide medical care for Togo's entire rural population. We unfortunately don't get any support from the state. We have to ask for donations for each and every trip. And we still haven't got enough for the next trip in 1 or 2 months. But we won't give up hope. Michel CODOM and his helpers have treated over 300,000 people in Togo in the past 10 years. He's even taken his mission beyond Togo's borders. The NGO M Afrique now operates in 6 other West African countries.
And that's all on African on the Move this week, and sure to be part of the solution in your community. I'm Fumi Onajefe. See you again next week. Bye.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hi guys, my name is Kemen Fitness. I'm a fitness entrepreneur and wellness coach. Drink a lot of water, stretch before you work out. Try to work out at least 30 minutes. Eat healthy, that's eat clean, and have a lot of sleep. Yeah, try to sleep when you can. On the keyboard. I don't think I know. On the keyboard. That's it, on the keyboard. If it's not Z, I don't know. Oh. Last sleep which I hung out with. When was the last time I hung outside? But I had the most fun hanging out with Timaya. He's a comedian. North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. Okay, so wait. Some chairs have arms and legs but no head. Maybe. Yeah. I admire a lot of female celebrities. A lot of them. I mean, yeah, of course. The most. Don't tell anybody. Tiwa Savage. Hi guys, my name is Kemen. I'm a fitness entrepreneur and a wellness coach. These guys, they made me thirsty, but I survived. At least I answered most of the questions, so I tried. Yeah!
This TV station, Plus TV Africa, is designed to help to create a paradigm shift. The more we tell our stories, the more we learn from whatever our past mistakes have been.
We can be much more than we are. We should be doing a lot in refineries.
And we are definitely investing in our staff. We're training, we're developing, we're creating the kind of workforce that will be the envy of the international broadcast. The quality of the reportage, the quality of our presentation, the quality of our production will be obvious. We're saying that we want to reach Africans wherever they are and get the message across to them. That's what Plus TV Africa is all about.
You're watching Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live, and this is News on the Hour. I am Tokumbo Taiwo. We begin the news at this hour that the Code of Conduct Bureau has said President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, governors and other public officers whose tenure ends on the 29th of May must submit their end of tenure asset declaration forms on the 28th of May 2019. However, other public officers, mainly members of the outgoing 8th National Assembly who were inaugurated on the 9th of June 2015, have up until June 8, 2019, a few hours to the expiration of their tenure to declare their assets. Those expected to declare their assets by virtue of the constitutional provision are the President, Vice President, President and Deputy President of the Senate, Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Speakers and Deputy Speakers of State Houses of Assembly and all members of legislative houses. The rest are governors and deputy governors, the Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of each state, ministers, commissioners and Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Paragraph 11 of Part 1 to the 5th schedule to the Constitution compels public officers to declare their assets to the CCB immediately after taking office and thereafter at the end of every 4 years. The public officers are obliged to submit to the Code of Conduct Bureau a written declaration of all of their properties, assets and liabilities and those of his unmarried children under the age of 18 years. Chief Press Secretary of the CCB, Charity Utok, said the incoming political office holders were given up to 3 months to make their declarations to the CCB, while the outgoing ones must do so as soon as they step out of office. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday hosted members of the business community and officials of the All Progressives Congress APC to Iftar, which is the Ramadan breaking of fast at the State House in Abuja. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, were among the government functionaries at the fast-breaking event. Members of the business community in attendance of the fast-breaking meal included Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, Tony Elumelu, Isiaka Rabiu, and Emeka Ofo. Others were the chairman of the Sahara Group, Kola Adeshina, and the chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Najim Yassin. A national chairman of the APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, immediate past the national chairman of the party, John Odigye Oyegun, the party's national vice chairman, Northwest, Inua Abdulkader, and other party officials also joined the president to share the fast-breaking meal. Nigeria's Supreme Court has upheld the election of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. In a unanimous judgment on Friday, a five-man panel of the court dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate in the last governorship election in Ekiti, Kolakbo Eleka. The PDP and the Eleka had appealed to the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the decision of the Justice Suleiman Belgore-led election tribunal that held that Fayemi was validly elected. In the lead judgment by Justice John Okoro, the court held that the appeal was unmeritorious and proceeded to uphold an earlier judgment by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which affirmed the decision of the election tribunal to the effect that Fayemi was validly elected. The judge added that he could not interfere with the concurrent findings of the two lower courts, both the trial tribunal and the Court of Appeal, because the appellants, PDP and Olushola Eleka, failed to establish that both lower courts erred and misapplied the law in their judgments. The acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, Justices Olukayode Ariwola, Paul Galumje, and Uwani Abba Aji, who were also on the panel, agreed with the lead judgment. Meanwhile, Professor Kolakbo Olushola Eleka, former Deputy Governor of Ekiti and People's Democratic Party PDP governorship candidate in the last governorship election, has congratulated Governor Kayode Fayemi on his election victory at the Supreme Court. While reacting to his loss at the Apex Court, the PDP candidate said he decided to congratulate Fayemi because of his nature as an Omoluabi, which is a cultured person. He, however, implored Fayemi to sincerely exhibit the true Omoluabi attitude Ekiti people were known for by focusing on governance in the true sense of it. He said, and I quote, "My consolation at this time is that people of Ekiti, as well as Fayemi and the APC, knew I was robbed, and God being God, the true story shall be told someday by those who orchestrated the theft." Also, the Supreme Court on Friday nullified the elections of the candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State in the 2019 general elections. Delivering a unanimous judgment of the five-man panel led by the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, the Apex Court declared the first runners-up in the 2019 general elections in the state as the winners of all of the posts earlier declared to have been won by the APC and its candidates. Justice Paul Galumje, who read the lead judgment, upheld the decision of the Sokoto Division of the Court of Appeal to the effect that the APC did not conduct any valid primary election and as such had no candidate for any of the elections in the state. He added that the party and the candidates with the second highest votes in the various elections were the valid winners. The governor-elect of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale of the People's Democratic Party, has commended the judiciary for standing up to the truth in the discharge of its responsibilities. He became the new governor-elect on Friday, being the candidate with the second highest number of votes from the last governorship election in the state. In a statement signed by his aide, Umar Muhammad, he said, and I quote, "The judgment is a testimony that the judiciary has remained fair in the discharge of its responsibilities." In other legal matters now, Governor Aminu Masari has signed into law mandatory death sentence for anyone convicted of cattle rustling or kidnapping in Katsina State. Similarly, the offense of rape carries the mandatory sentence of life in addition to a fine and compensation to the victim. 2 students of Caleb University's Imota in Ikorodu, Lagos State, who were among many others protesting some new set of rules in the school, have been reportedly shot by men of the police force engaged to bring peace in the school. The students were said to be protesting against the suspension of some students and a policy of the school that forbids students hanging out till 7 p.m. when some policemen drafted in to restore order allegedly shot at them, with others sustaining injuries. Meanwhile, former Inspector General of Police has advocated for the use of stud guns in the Nigeria Police Service. While speaking during an exclusive one-on-one interview with Plus TV Africa, the former police boss feels the initiative will curb the spate of extrajudicial killings.
The 200 we procured was supposed to, be sent to the training institutions so that every policeman, when they go for their training program, either development courses or whatever, they now introduce them to, the use of those stun guns. Okay. But, they kept them, they didn't implement that, and that is what the new IG has now thought, necessary. That they should start teaching them the use of, the stun gun.
Okay. Yeah. Will the budgets cover for that?
Well, it's not something that is going to be incremental. I bought 200. If, it will be 3 years down the line since I retired. If they've been buying maybe 200, by now, what is the population? It's not every policeman that goes to the highway. It would have been an incremental thing, and they will start increasing the stock as time goes on. The idea is that stun gun reduces fatalities. It's not as an AK-47 that kills you instantly.
But the allegation is that when you use that stun gun once and use it again on the same person, there's a possibility.
You cannot use it on the same person for, why
how small these police officers can be.
No, you can't use it on the same person. All it's supposed to do is just to neutralize you, so that they can effect arrest. And, there are rules and regulations on when to use firearms. It's all about capacity building. We have to be able to build the capacity of our, law enforcement officers to be sufficiently confident enough to interact with members of the public. Sometimes education tends to, paper off those rough edges that you have. The more educated you are, the more accommodating you are. You don't easily see people annoying you, telling you things that are likely to upset you. Right. You could, in response, maybe convert it to a joke. I remember a British Prime Minister who went for a rally. They were using, tomatoes that were bad, and to picture him. And he looked at them and said, "Oh, you guys are lucky you even have potatoes and tomatoes and rotten eggs to throw at me. If it's the other political party, that comes to power, you will not have access to some." You see, you can always convert something that is negative to positive, and it's all about education. It's all about character.
And talking rail infrastructure now, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, says Nigeria's Central Railway line will commence from Abuja to Itakpe via Lokoja in Kogi State and has been approved by the Federal Executive Council. The minister, while giving an appraisal of ongoing rail projects in the country, commended the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari, saying the federal government has proven its resolve to build critical infrastructure and is not owing any counterpart funding for other rail projects. He said there is no cause for alarm over the expected loan for the Central Rail line, as the business model being adopted will guarantee repayment of the loan.
We have paid we paid the counterpart funding. That's not a problem. And we must thank the president. His commitment. You will enjoy being a minister when the president is committed to you. You look as if you are the star minister. You're not the star minister. Any other minister they put there and has the attention of the president will be a star minister. Because the focus of the president is on the construction or building of infrastructure. It's not because Amici or Fashola are his best of friends. If you take John and Mary to Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Works, they will get the same attention because the president is focused on infrastructure. So we are delighted and we thank the president for that attention. We thank the Ministry of Finance for that attention, and we thank the Nigerian people for that. There are other projects that are considered for construction. The one that we just got an approval from the cabinet is the Central Line. The Central Line begins from Abuja through Baro to Itape with a spot to Lokoja. That has been approved. With a seaport in Warri, approved. The problem is that in that case, the federal government is not borrowing money. The SPV will borrow the money. The federal government will contribute 10% of the equity. No, 15% of the equity. The contractor will contribute 10% of the equity. Then we will form an SPV that will borrow 75% of the equity. The federal government will give a sovereign guarantee to enable them to get quick loan. In turn, the contractor will give us a performance guarantee. What is performance guarantee? The performance guarantee is that since you have concessioned this, after completion, you've concessioned it to me, I will run the seaport and the rail line in such a manner that I will pay back the loan in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, based on what the outcome of the thing is. So the payment of the loan will be done by the SPV. The federal government will guarantee the loan, and in turn the SPV or the contractor will give us a guarantee that that if they call our SPV, we should call their performance guarantee. That's the one. If it works, that's a wonderful type of PPP. And it was ingenious of the ministry to have done that.
And rounding up the news across Nigeria, we have reports from the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce as it organized an annual event for an exhibition of African food and products themed Sustainability and Innovation, Pathway to Business. It focuses on providing up-to-date information on the Nigerian and U.S. business environment. Correspondent Amaka Okoye has the details.
The event brought individuals, men and women, entrepreneurs and stakeholders in businesses to either showcase products or be participants in the event. The organizers tell us why today's event is significant.
It is a lot of exposure for the local producers to enhance their access to export market and also to finances. Communication is also key. You have some communication companies here, like Glow, that can facilitate communication from rural, from the farmers to the storage silos, to the financial people, to the exporters. What used to be probably taking about 7 days now can be realized in a day.
This is a very, very important event, and the significance of it is to project what we can do as Nigerians, African food exhibition and products, so we can showcase the various products that our small and medium-scale enterprises are into.
Partners as well as business owners say it offers them an opportunity to bring their products to more and more people.
The event is very critical to our aspiration as an institution because the event speaks to sustainability and innovation. And if you cast your mind back and check the history of Nigerian banks, you'll discover that Sterling Bank has been a bank that has been at the forefront of sustainability and also innovation. And we've been able to deploy several creative and innovative solutions, digital solutions in the banking industry that have disrupted the banking industry in Nigeria and also in Africa.
I'm happy that people have been coming around, even if they don't buy, but they learn a lot about living a healthy lifestyle and the food that will help them.
I strongly believe that this kind of gathering is critical to the success of our country and especially for our youths that are out of school. How do I mean? Go around the world, you realize that MSME are the bedrock of every economy in the world. So gathering like this, bringing them together, is a major foundation for us to grow our economy. Secondly, you agree with me that bringing creative solution helps solve problems. And there's a saying that if you are too big to start small, you'll be too small to start big.
Speakers and panelists encourage participants to make the best of the opportunity to network and grow. For Plus TV Africa, Amaka Okoye.
And it's time to take a quick break now. Stay tuned for more news when we return. A panel of 3 judges in Kenya unanimously upheld laws that criminalize consensual same-sex relations between adults. The judges said the Constitution adequately protected LGBTQ people's rights. In the ruling, the Kenyan High Court upheld the colonial-era ban on same-sex relations on Friday. Presiding Judge Rosalind Aburili gave ruling saying the impugned sections of the Penal Code are not unconstitutional and declined that the relief sought